Hi y'all, it's your native Flor-xan, and we're doing something a little different today. So I got it in mind to cook some seafood tonight, and I decided, seafood without butter is just ain't seafood at all, right? So I decided, you know what? Let's make some butter to go with it. So that's what I'm going to show you today. All right, so I got my stand mixer here. I've had the bowl in the fridge getting good and chilled, and I got the whisk attachment on it. And so I also recommend, if you got one of these covers, to use it, because as this gets closer to being butter, it will slosh around and make a mess. And I learned that the first time I did this. So we're going to go ahead and get this locked down here. Alright, so simply what we're going to do, we got this all put down. Make sure I lock it here. And I've got 1 quart of heavy whipping cream. And so we're just going to start our mixer up on a low speed. Pour this down in there. Alright, so we got all that down in there. I'll put my other little cover on it. And then we're going to speed this dude up. Now I'm running on number 4. Just to kind of show you where we're at with this. It's starting to thicken up, as you can see. So when it gets to that point, I think I'm going to speed it up a little more. And running on speed number 6. Alright, so it's been running on number 6 for just a couple of minutes, and look at there. It's already starting to look like whipping cream. So we're going to keep it going, and I'll be back with you when we get a little bit closer to being butter. Alright, so when it gets to this point right here, where it's starting to get a little beyond, or a little bit beyond being whipping cream, I like to scrape the sides of the bowl down. And just kind of make sure all that's down in there. It's going to ride back up a bit. Get it back down and get to mixing. Alright, so I just stopped it again. And you can kind of see it's starting to get a little bit of yellowish tint to it. Now I suppose if you stop right here, you might have you some whipped butter, but you can see it's kind of an off-white color. So we're not far from having butter. So I just want to stop it, scrape it down one more time, and we'll let it keep running. Alright, so I'm just stopping it again, just so you can see how it's starting to break up, and I can see down in the bottom it's starting to build a little bit of whey. And I imagine, because I've done this before, it's probably starting to taste like butter. Yep, starting to taste like butter. Let's keep her going. So I just wanted to show you real quick where we're at. So when it gets to this stage here, where you can see all that buttermilk down in the bottom and it's starting to beat around, I'm going to slow it down to about speed number 4. Alright, so when it starts sloshing a bunch, turn it off, because you can see the mess it'll make. And now we have butter. Yeah, this cover ain't what it's supposed to be, I can tell you that. So what I'm going to do next, I got me a strainer here in a bowl, and I'm just going to carefully take this off of there and just kind of try to drop it into that strainer there. And the reason I use the strainer, because I want to rinse this off and get any more of that buttermilk off of here before we start bowling this up. Got that. I'm just going to take my hand and try to fish the rest of it out of here. Leave no butter behind. Alrighty. So now we'll just rinse this off. This out of the way. Clean up a little bit. Alright, so we just rinsed our butter off in a little bit of cold water, and the next thing I'm going to do is I like to put it on a cheesecloth and kind of just tie it up and form it into a ball, but I still want to do this over that strainer, and that way I can push out any more of that buttermilk or whatever water from rinsing it off might still be in there. Just kind of work it around a little bit. Try to get all that out of there. And the reason you want to do that is because that will spoil the butter when you put it in the fridge if you have a bunch of that in there. But I got a feeling most of this is going to get used here pretty quick. So, and there you have it, our ball of butter. I got some parchment paper here. Just going to lay this out. Put our butter on there. And I just kind of want to flatten that out a little bit, because what I want to do is flavor this butter. Alright, so we got this flattened out, and how I want to flavor it is I got my datil pepper seasoning here, which is it's my house seasoning with some datil pepper in it. So I'm gonna put some of that on there, just give it just a slight bit of kick. You could use Cajun seasoning if you want, make you some Cajun butter, or you could certainly do whatever other flavors you want to do. Then I'm just going to add a little, just my plain house seasoning to it. And what we want to do is just kind of fold this. Kind of work this around. Almost like you're kneading dough. All I'm trying to do here is work this around and get all that seasoning kind of evenly distributed. Working it like this, the heat from your hands really softens that butter up, which is actually what we want for our next step. So I'm going to wash my hands and get a clean piece of parchment, show you what we're going to do from there. So I got the clean parchment. I'm just going to place our butter on there, and I'm going to fold it over like so. You want to make sure your butter's kind of in the center. I'm going to take and turn it like this. And I'm going to grab a cutting board, and I'm just going to kind of push on that paper to try to work this butter out to a little bit more of a log. There we go, finally got a grip on it. So I just pushed on it there, holding it, and got it worked down into a log. That's about how I want it. Now what I'm going to do is take and fold that parchment, seal them in. Fold it like so, and then I'll just cut this excess off. Now we got us some seafood butter. Alright, so here we go. Gonna put this in the fridge and Later on tonight, we'll get it back out. It'll be nice and cold and acting like butter, and we'll just slice off the log whatever we want to make what we're making. Fixing to start cleaning up, and I forgot to talk about the whey. What do you do with the whey with that buttermilk that got left over? Well, a good thing you can do with it is make you some biscuits, or save it and use it in some kind of a bread recipe that calls for milk or whatever. But there's uses for this if you want to use it. It's quite a bit left over. That was a quart, and I probably got about a pint, so probably about half of that quart in buttermilk left over. So just wanted to mention it before I forgot. Well, now that the whey's out of the way, we got our butter in the fridge. I got a plan for it tonight. I got some seafood I'm going to be cooking up with that, which if you've been following me, you've probably already seen that video. But I do want to thank, originally it was my daughter-in-law, that's my youngest son's wife, that showed me how to do this, and we've been doing it for the past couple years now, ever since she showed us. So it's a good thing to do. Make your own butter. You know what's in it. If you do it right, it'll last a good while in the fridge, and if you do it right, it ain't gonna last long in your fridge. So, but good thing to try. Play around with it. Mix in different things. You could put parsley in there. You could put a little bit of Parmesan cheese in there if you want, or even just add garlic to it. The sky's the limit on whatever you want to put in there. If it goes good with butter, put it in there. So thanks for watching. Thanks to all you subscribers out there. I really appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one.